G'day and welcome back to another episode. So my name's Jared. I'm just going to run you through on how I sharpen a knife. So just first up, just a rundown on what you're going to need, or what I use. I just get a bit of paper towel there. I've obviously got my pouch with my knives in it. I've got a steel, and I've got my stone itself and some soapy water. So this is a water stone, it's not an oil stone. So being that it is porous, I just soak it in warm soapy water before I get going. So while I'm setting up, I'll just have it pre-soaking. So you want to set yourself up on a nice flat surface. So what I do is I just lay a bit of paper towel down just to stop my stone from sitting on the stainless, and then it also stops it from sliding around. So you'll have your stone facing coarse side up, just to run all your knives over the coarse side before refining the edge and putting it on the fine side after that. Now just quickly make sure that you have washed your knives before you begin. So any bacteria that is on your knives is going to absorb into that stone, and then obviously is going to be there for next time, and you don't want to have your stone harbouring that bacteria over the course of its life not being used. So you just want to chuck some soap on there. So I'm just using K55 detergent, which is just a food grade soap, and I'll just use that as an actual lubrication just to allow my knife to sort of slide a bit better. So just a guide for your angle too, if you pretend there is a 20-cent piece like so behind the actual back end of your blade, that's a good angle to start with. Some people will have a little bit of variance difference, some people will have a bit less, bit more, but the main thing is be consistent. Make sure that that 20-cent piece or that 10-cent piece, whatever gap you decide is going to be for you, make sure you do that consistently on both sides. So doing circles like this is another technique that you can use if it is heavily shouldered, just to sort of wear that shoulder down and get it back to a flatter edge so you can actually start to reshape and put the edge back on it. Now I like to spin my stone around just to stop the uneven wear of the actual stone itself. You will find if you don't rotate it, it will sort of scoop out and hollow out in the very centre and stay high on the outsides. And just another handy hint, so the way I do it, I go left, right, left, right. Alternatively, you can go 10 on one side, 10 on the other side. I just find that, you know, if something does pop up or you have to stop for whatever reason and you've just done 10 on the left and you come back and you've forgotten and you've done another 10 on the left, you've overcompensated on one side and it can sort of throw your whole sharpening process out and you have to start again. And then you also find some people, just to test how you're going with the knife, they'll use it to shave the hair on their arms. I mean, obviously we're in a butcher shop, so that's not very hygienic. So I'll just feel the edge with my finger. You know, just be careful if you are going to do that, because they are sharp, and although it might be blunt at the start, it doesn't take much to get an edge on there, and you wouldn't want to sort of cut your thumb by accident. So just moving on to the steak knife now. So same thing, just sort of watch where the end of your knife is, as you will run out of stone before you get to the tip of your knife. So circle work again if the shoulder is quite substantial and you need to work it off. But like I said, I try and avoid ever using the circle work. Personal preference, I just much prefer not using it and just going left to right. So just there is what I'm talking about, in the middle of the stone there where I pointed, is where it will hollow out if you don't flip and rotate your stone. So being that if it is your first go, just get that 20-cent piece, just recheck your angle, and if you're off a little bit, just obviously compensate, reassess it, and then start again. Okay, so I've flipped over to the fine side now. So a little hint would be, don't put too much pressure on the knife, meaning don't put in much downward pressure on the knife. You want to let the knife just glide over the stone, hence the reason we've got that soap for lubrication. This is honing the edge and getting rid of any coarser grit marks that the other side has caused, and really smoothing out that edge to hone it. So you'd much prefer to do 30-40 strokes than do 5 or 10 strokes and have too much downward pressure and then also put an incorrect edge. And it doesn't hurt just to clean it off either. You know, just wipe it down with a bit of paper towel, gets rid of any extra grit that's on there, and it'll help it really glide over better. Okay, so we're just going to move over to the actual steak knife now. Just really focus on trying to utilize the whole blade on the whole stone, so you're not sort of getting 3/4 of the way up the blade and you've run out of stone. You will get better with this in time, obviously, as you practice a bit more as well. Just give it a clean off with a bit of paper towel and just check where it's at. You can alternatively, instead of just checking the edge like so, you can use it just to run over a bit of A4 paper or whatnot, just to check how sharp it's going. So once you're happy with the amount of time you put into your steak knife and your boner knife or whatever knife you're using, you want to give them a really good wash down. There will be some residual sediment left on those and on the stone, and I'll show you here how much is just left on this paper towel. So you really do want to wash it up. There's a fair bit there, and you want to make sure they're nice and clean for when you put them over your steel. So now that everything's cleaned up, I can chuck it over my steel. Now I have half diamond, half polish, so I'll be trying to emulate the same gap as well. I'll be trying to get that 20-cent piece gap at the back there. So I'll go down my diamond and then flip it around and go over my polish. Just a safety tip, tuck your thumb around like I've got it there. If you do have it around the other side of the handle and you slip down and cut on top, you will cut ligaments and tendons, which will require a fair bit of surgery to fix that up. If you've got it like I've got it, you're going to hit sort of the muscle and fattier tissue, which will obviously require stitches still, but it's going to be less damage than what the other side will cause. So just take your time, it's not a race. More focus on getting the angle right on your knife, and in time, with more practice, you will be able to speed up and get a lot faster. But in the meantime, just keep it slow and just get your angles right. And that definitely applies to when you use your steak knife. There's a lot more chance you're going to cut yourself, it's a lot longer. So especially with your steak knife, take your time, go nice and slow. You're just going to get faster with practice. Done and dusted, nice and clean. So thanks for watching, hit that subscribe and that bell, and hopefully like and share.